Hello students, welcome to this session. Today just solve this paper, this NEET test 71, and I'm doing this analysis. So as per me, 3 questions were tough and I've taken 3. You could have removed 1 and 2 also because you are thoroughly practiced, and 22 were medium, 20 were easy. Paper was of an easy level, I can say, and again it's a paper where you should score. So as again say, for a student who's looking for physics, slightly feeling better in physics, should get 135 plus or 140 plus here, and a very good student should aim for 170 plus here. It's a paper that you can crack. There's nothing which is troubling you. All the questions are very similar that you have seen. There's nothing out of course, I suppose. So the paper is quite a cakewalk for you if you are actually prepared very well, and you should be by that time. You were originally prepared for May, and now we are in almost approaching August, so you have got that extra time, so you should be fast and you should be scoring more. And if you want the PDF, please fill in the type form given in the description, and plus to send in your comments. And plus, as I told you, I will be planning to have some topic based course launch very soon for all of you online. So please give your suggestions which topic you want to be covered, be as specific as you can. So let's begin. Hello friends, so it's about 12:40. I'm starting this paper. The paper I write almost 5-7 minutes back on the app. Now the first one. According to the Bohr model, what determines the shortest wavelength in a given series? So we simply know in a given series the shortest wavelength is when it transits from infinity to that particular ground or the first or second level, the series corresponding. That means it is a quantum number that determines the lower energy level into which the electron falls from the higher infinity energy level. So going by the options, it should be option B only. It is decided by the final state in which the lower energy level in which the electron is falling out. So it's a common question that is being given almost in the sheets of all institutes. Next one. The frequency of X-ray, gamma ray, visible light are APC. So what do you know? Gamma rays are the most energetic, so their frequency would be most than the X-rays, and then we will have the visible one. So definitely gamma will be greater than A, gamma will be greater than C. So we'll go for option A. Gamma is the highest one. And the more energetic than gamma are called the cosmic rays sometimes. Okay. The position vectors of two identical particles with respect to the origin in 3D system are R1 and R2. Okay. The position vector of the CMS. Because they are identical, I can directly say their mass is same. So let's say mass of both be m. So that would be m times R1 plus m times R2 divided by m plus m. That is 2m. So it comes out as R1 vector plus R2 vector divided by 2. So it would be option D. This is D1. Yes, it should be with vector sign. Next. Two heating coils of resistances 10 and 20 are connected in parallel and connected to a battery of 12 volt and internal resistance 1 ohm. The power consumed by them is. So what we have, you have this 10 ohm, you have this 20 ohm connected to a battery with this internal resistance. So first of all, what we will have, this 10 and 20 is in parallel. This R becomes 10 into 20 by 30. So it basically becomes 20 by 3. So what we have, so in this particular case, the current that is being drawn from the battery would be equals to 12 upon 20 by 3 plus 1. So that is 12 into 3 by 23. That is 36 by 23 from the battery. Now the division would be I1 by I2 is in the inverse ratio of the resistance. So I1 would be 2/3 of that. That is 36 by 23. So that comes out as whatever would be, let's say it is 2 by 3 of I and I2 would be I by 3. We have to just take the ratio. So we need not calculate these things. Indeed, this is all not required. We could have started from here only. So what I can say, the power in 10 ohm would be I1 square into 10. That is 4 I square by 9 into 10. And power in 20 ohm would be, sorry, it is I1 is 2 by 3. Okay, it is right. I2 square by 20, which is I square by 9 into 20. So if I take that ratio, I square by 9 goes, it is 40 by 20, so it comes out as 2:1. So the most appropriate is C option. The above calculations were not at all required. I thought they would be asking for a numerical value. Next one. A ball of mass half a kg attached to the end of a string having a length half a meter. The ball is rotated on a horizontal circular path about the vertical axis. The maximum tension that the string can bear is 3 to 4 Newton. The maximum possible value of the angular velocities, because it is this horizontal circular path. Let me draw like this is like this, so it would be what he says, a conical pendulum basically. Now the maximum possible value of the angular velocities, so what we will have, the length is half meter. About the vertical axis, the maximum tension that the string can bear is 324. So what is the maximum possible thing? So if I draw this is T, I take it to be theta, this will be theta. So from the FBD, what we will say, vertical balance is T cos theta is mg, and T sin theta is equal to m omega square r, and r is equal to what you have, L sin theta. Okay, so you need not need any other thing. So this sine and sine goes. So what we have, omega max square, I can directly say would be equal to T max upon ml. That is 324, half into half, that is 1 by 4. That is 324 into 4. So what is omega? Omega would be root. And 324, if you remember, this is the square of, I think, 18. So that is 18 into 2. That comes out as 36 radian per second. So we'll go for option. Now the next one, sixth one. A body of mass 1 kg is connected to a string and is undergoing a complete vertical circular motion of 1 meter radius. If it is barely able to complete the vertical circle, then the difference in its kinetic energy at the top and bottom of the circle is. So it is barely able to complete, that means V at top is critical velocity, that is root rg. V at bottom, would be equal to root 5 rg. So what we can have, the difference delta k would be half mv bottom square, that is 5gr, minus top square, that is gr. So it is 4gr, 4mgr by 2, that is 2mgr. Put the value 1 into 10 into 1, so it comes out as 20 joule. So as per the given data, it should be option B. Next one. The potential difference between A and B in the following circuit is. Okay, so just look at this circuit. Between A and B, you need to find out. So let's say if I go for by this, what I can say, this loop like this. So let's say start from A. So here, what I will write, let's say current is like this. So what I will write, minus 2i going in the direction of current, plus 6 minus 8i plus 4 equals to 0. So what we have now, we have this terms. So this would be 10i is equal to 10. So I comes out as 1 ampere. So definitely this difference VA minus VB would be this drop is 8 volt now. So here the drop is of 8 and here it rises by 4. So total change would be 4 volt with B at the higher potential as compared to A. And the difference is going to be 4. Directly you can write out. Okay, this term you can say. Next one. A circuit consists of 3 identical lamps connected to a battery as shown in the figure. When the switch S is closed, then the intensity of lamps A and B. Okay. So initially what is, all 3 are in series, so the current would be, you can say, is equal to V by 3R if R is the resistance of each lamp. Now when you close it, the only this loop effects, because this is short circuited, so now the current in A and B will change and it would be V by 2R. So current is increased, so therefore their brightness will increase. And by how much? Initially their power was V square by 9R square divided by R, you can write. Okay, not divided by R, multiplied by R, I square R. So V square by 9R. Now they have V square by 4R it will be. So it is basically what happens, it is more than doubled clearly. 1 by 9, 1 by 4, 1 by 4 is definitely greater than 2 times. So will increase by more than 2 times. Next one. Current of 5 ampere flows at 220 volt in the primary of the transformer. Okay. If the voltage in the secondary is 2200 and 50% power is lost, it's a very poor transformer, then the current in the secondary is. So PS is 0.5 times PP, that is 0.5 times 5 into 220 would be equals to 2200 into IS. So IS would be what we have, this is 220 into 5 into, let's write it 1 by 2, and this is 2200. So it is 10, so what it is 5 by 20, so it is 1 by 4 ampere. So it is 0.25 ampere. You can go for option A. Next one. The diagram shows a square loop of side half a meters and resistance 10 ohm. The magnetic field has a magnitude. The work done in pulling out of the loop field slowly and uniformly in 2 seconds will be. So if it is pulled out in 2 seconds, so what will be the velocity? So you move half a meter in 2 seconds. So velocity is 0.25 meter per second for sure. So the EMF induced would be BVL, that is what you can write. because this side is going out, so it would be induced only in this one. So E is BVL, B is what, 1, V is 0.25, L is what you have, 0.5. So it comes out as, what it is coming out, it is 0.125 I suppose. So the EMF is 0.125 volt. Now the resistance is given, so the current would be E by R, that would be 0.0125 ampere. This is very small now. Now work done would require the basically the force, the magnetic force that that would be acting is BIL, you know. B is 1, I is 0.0125, L is what you had, 0.5. So again it's very less, 0.00625 ampere newtons. So this is the force, this is the external force you will need to apply, and in 2 seconds it moves by 0.5 meters. So the work required would be this 0.00625 into what you had, 0.5. That is what we will be needing. So what we have, 0.003125 joule. That is 3.125 into 10 to the power minus 3 joule. Go for option A. Next one. Two positive ions, each has a charge Q separated by a distance D. If F is the force of repulsion between the ions, the number of electrons missing from each ion will be okay. Because both are positive, this F we write it as, let's say N are missing, so Ne whole square by D square. So what we will have, Fd square upon K. K is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, multiply it here upon E square, that would be equal to N square. So N would be what you can write, Fd square 4 pi epsilon naught by E square. That is what I am getting. So going by the options, which one is looking like? This is the option C, so not a tough one for you. Next one. Hollow insulated conducting sphere. Because it is conducting, given a positive charge, it will be over the outer surface or the over surface. What would be the electric field at the center? So you know the field inside would be 0. So at center or at any inside point, it is going to be 0. Next one. A particle is kept at a distance r above the Earth's surface. Okay. The minimum speed with it should be projected so that it doesn't return. So the simple logic, it is placed somewhere like this. So this distance, this is r above. So this is r and r. This small r distance will become 2r. So at this point, the potential energy would be, let's say its mass is m. So minus gmm by 2r. And you know, for escape, total energy should become 0. So that u plus k must be 0. So minus gmm by 2r plus half mv square should be equal to 0. So v square comes out as what? Gmm by r, gm by r, sorry, m will cancel. So v is equal to root gm by r. So going by the options, it should be option C here. Next. A car accelerates from rest at a constant rate alpha for some time, after which it retards at beta and comes to rest. If total time is d, then the maximum velocity acquired. This is a very common question. Remember the result alpha beta t upon alpha plus beta, and similarly you are asked the distance also here. So what happens here, this is a VT curve. Draw this, the VT curve, initially it increases, then it decreases. This rate of increase would be alpha. Here the magnitude of slope would be beta. Total time is given as t. So let's say this time be delta t1, let's say this time be delta t2. So what you are given, delta t1 plus delta t2 is t, and if I can write it, this is what we have, Vmax. So I just apply the, let's say this point be OA and P. First, between O and A, I apply the first equation. Vmax would be equal to 0 plus alpha delta t1. For the second one, we will apply 0 would be equal to Vmax minus beta dt delta 2, because beta is retardation. So from here, I can write delta t1 as Vm by alpha. From here, I can write delta t2 as Vm by beta equals to t. So do this calculation, you will get Vm as alpha beta upon alpha plus beta into t. So this is a very common question that is being taught in class 11th in the motion in 1D or kinematics in 1D. Next one. The surface temperature of the stars is determined using, you all know, celestial objects temperatures are determined using the Wien's displacement law, measuring that lambda m, the wavelength corresponding to which maximum energy is being seen, that lambda mt equals to b. Lambda m is determined, so t would be given by v by lambda m. B is the universal Wien's constant. Next one. You have 2 moles of a gas at 300 Kelvin were cooled at a constant volume so that the pressure is reduced to half the initial value. Okay, so volume is constant, pressure is reduced to half the volume, so temperature will also be half. So that also becomes 150 for sure. Then as a result of heating at constant pressure, gas expands till it attains the original temperature. The total heat absorbed is. So if I draw this over here, let it be on a PV diagram. So at a constant volume, so pressure is reduced to half. So let's say I draw these two isotherms first. This is 300 Kelvin, this is 150 Kelvin. So initially it is being taken cooled using a constant volume one. Let me draw it here. Won't be good to draw here. Let it be here. So initially it is, let's say, taken from A to B and then from B to C at somewhere here. So what we will require total heat absorbed. So first of all, QAB would be NCV delta T. That would be 2 into whatever be the mole CV delta T is minus 150. So that is minus 300 Cp. And then QBC would be NCP delta T. That would be again 2 into Cp into 150 change plus 150 change here. That is 300 Cp. So therefore Qnet would be, if I add them, it will become 300 Cp minus Cv, which is same for all gases, which is R. So the net answer is 300 R. Irrespective whether it is mono or dia, it would be 300 R. Next. If 50 calorie of heat is supplied to the system containing 2 moles of an ideal mono gas, then the rise in temperature is okay. So what happens here? Say containing ideal, what happens? This pressure is same, so the pressure will remain same here also. The upward forces are same, so it is a constant pressure process. First of all, you need to identify this. Now the heat is given, so I can write Q is equal to NCP delta T, like I did above. So Q is 50 calorie, N is 2, Cp is given in calorie units, so that is 2, delta T I can directly get for delta T, that would be 50 by 4. So what I can have, so 50 calorie is given, this is 2 into 2 into delta T, so it is 50 by 4, that I will be getting, okay, okay, I have done a grave mistake. Cp is not R, sorry, because it is a mono gas. Cp is 5 R by 2 and R is 2, so that becomes 2 into 5 calorie units delta T, so delta T is 10. It was good that option was not given 12.5, otherwise I would have ticked that. So be careful, the value was R was given and Cp is 5 R by 2 here. Okay, next one. So 50 by 10, again I am doing the mistake. It's because maybe I might be feeling sleepy. Usually it's my time to get to sleep by then. Okay, that's 5 Kelvin, so be careful about the calculations. Next one. We have a bar magnet cut into 2 equal halves by a plane parallel to the magnetic axis. The physical quantity that which remain unchanged. So just remember, whenever you cut it parallel to this axis, the time period of oscillation will remain same for sure. Now what happens? The pole strength will decrease because the length is same but the magnetic moment is half, so pole strength will also be half. Magnetic moment half. Intensity of magnetization is magnetic moment per unit volume. So magnetic moment is half, volume is half, so intensity of magnetization remains the same. So option C, moment of inertia decreases, definitely it becomes half. So all these quantities becomes half, only what is intensity of magnetization will remain the same. Next one. Wire of arbitrary shape carries a current 2 ampere. Consider a portion of the wire between 000 and 444 coordinates. A magnetic field given by 12 and 10 ki power minus 4 I cap, 2 into 10 ki power minus 4 j cap exists in the region. The force acting on the given portion of the wire is. So we need not to check about the actual spread. We can directly write the force as B, what we have, IL cross B, that is the result we take, and IL we directly can write as initial to final point. Let it be A and B, that is will be A, between 0, 0, sorry, this point be A and let's say this point be B. So we need to find out this vector only, AB cross B vector. So what we have, I is 2, LAB would be 4I plus 4J plus 4K cap, and we have to take the cross with 12 into 10 to the power minus 4 I cap plus 2 into 10 to the power minus 4 J cap. So if I do this, I cross I would be 0, I cross J would be K, so that is 4 2s are 8 into 10 to the power minus 4 K cap. J cross I would be again minus K cap, so 12 4s are 48 into 10 to the power minus 4 K cap. J cross J is 0. Now K cross I would be J cap, so that would be 48 into 10 to the power minus 4. What we have, K cross I is J cap, and then k cross j is minus I cap, so minus 8 into 10 to the power minus 4 I cap. So for the k, what I have, 48 and 8 minus 40, that would be minus 80. Minus 80 into 10 to the power minus 4 k cap, plus 48 into 10 to the power minus 4 j cap, plus 8 into 10 to the power minus 4 I cap. So going by this analogy, what we will have here, what we are left with, the forces, and this thing is not coming up. What, okay, this would be a better choice. If I have taken 4 as common, it would be direct, no need to calculate this much, but answer B is there. I have calculated, no issues. Next, the ratio of magnetic field due to a smaller bar magnet in the end-on and broadside. You know, end-on and broadside, in this end-on position and in this broadside on position, both distance are here. The field, you write it as like the electric dipole 2 kp, so you have 2 mu naught upon 4 pi m by r cube, and here you have this mu naught upon 4 pi m by r cube. So that is definitely end-on position has double the field as the broadside on. So option is 2. Exactly, it's minus 2 because of the direction, because here field will be here would be opposite, but here only magnitude is asked, so 2 I can go for. Stone is released from an aeroplane which is rising with upward acceleration of 5 meter per second square. G is this. 2 seconds after the release, the separation between stone and aeroplane would be. So what we have, first of all, u of stone with respect to plane is 0 because it is dropped. Acceleration of stone with respect to the plane, so let's say take downward as positive, so that would be as minus ap. A of stone downward is positive, that is 5, 10, no, a of stone is 10 downwards, plus 10, and plane is 5 upward, that is minus 5, so it is 15 meter per second square downwards. So positive sign I have taken, and because it is going to remain constant, so separation delta y of stone with respect to plane, directly I can say that would be half into 15 into 2 square, that is 30 meters downward. That is going to be the separation. The stone with respect to plane will go 30 meter downwards. Next one, an artillery piece which constantly shoots its shell with the same muzzle speed as a maximum range r to hit a target which is r by 2 from the gun, and on the same level the angle of elevation is. So what we have, maximum range r is at theta equal to 45 degree, that r max you know is equal to u square by g. Now to get it half, so for r to be equal to that r max by 2, that means u square by 2g, that means u square sine 2 theta by g, so it implies sine of 2 theta is half. Sine of 2 theta is half, that means 2 theta should be equals to, sine theta is half at 30 degree and 150 degree. So you have theta as either as 15 degree or 75 degree, both will suffice, so 15 degree is the available option out of these. Next one, a rod of length AB is moving with ends remaining in contact with frictionless wall and floor. No friction is there. Velocity of end B is 3 towards the negative x direction, like this. This is 3 here. Okay. And then the velocity of end A will be, definitely it would be upwards, and the logic we use is this length is constant, so along this length of the ladder direction the velocities must be same. So the component of B, that is VB cos of 60, and the component of A, this angle would be 30, so that would be equal to VA cos 30. That should be equal to VA cos 30 degrees. So VA would be VB. VB is what? 3 cos 60 is 1 by 2, cos 30 is 1 root 3 by 2, 2 goes, that is root 3. So the end A would be root 3 meter per second upwards. That is shortly going to be the very straightforward question of constraint theory. Here the logic that works is, because the length of the ladder is constant along this, the component of the velocities must be same, otherwise the distance will change. So that is the logic that we take here. Okay, so if you are not studied, please see to it. Next one, a block of mass 1 kg lies on a horizontal surface in a truck. The coefficient of static friction in surface is 0.6. If the acceleration of the truck is find the frictional force. So you all remember, because it is 0.6, so maximum safe acceleration for which they move together would be mu sg, that is 6 meter per second square. So for the case of 5, yes, they will move together, and Fs will provide the necessary force, that is ma, that would be 1 into 5, that is 5 Newton. So Fs can act up to 6 Newton, but here it will act only 5 Newton, because that is what is required here. Next one, an alpha particle of energy 5 mega electronic volt is scattered through 180 degree by a fixed uranium nucleus. The distance of closest approach is, so simply what we can say, the distance of closest approach is, let's say it is coming from a very far away distance to this nucleus, ZE, and let's say it goes, this is P is the closest distance, this is R minimum, so we know velocity here becomes 0. So the loss in kinetic energy K alpha would be gain in the potential energy, which is K, Q1, Q2, that is ZE, and alpha is 2E upon R minimum. So what is R minimum? K you know is 9 and 10 ki power 9, ZE is 92E, that is 2E, and this 5 MeV. MeV means 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 into 10 ki power 6 for mega. So this 1 E can be cancelled from here. So what would be R minimum? This is 10 to the power 9, this is 10 to the power 6, so 10 to the power 3 into 9 into 92 into 2 upon 5, and this E is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. So it becomes 10 to the power minus 16, and now what we are left with? 18 into 92 into 1.6 by 5. So what we have, do this would be 0.32. So now what we have, 92 into 0.32, that would be roughly around 30, you can say, and 30 into 18, that is 480 or 5 something, 480 or 500 something. So 2 powers will be definitely go for sure. So it would be 10 to the power minus 14 something. So I'm just going by the order, and if you do this calculation, it would be exactly 5.3 into 10 to the power minus 14 meters. Okay, next one. The half-life of a radioactive sample is T if the reactivities of the sample at T1 and T2, T1 lesser than T2 are R1 and R2 respectively, then the number of atoms disintegrated is. So again, it's a common one. So R1 would be lambda times N1, N1 remaining at that time, R2 would be lambda times N2. And definitely N1 would be greater because it's a smaller time. So number dissociated would be N1 minus N2, that would be R1 by lambda minus R2 by lambda. And half-life is T, so what I can say, R1 minus R2 into 1 by lambda. And we know T half is equal to ln2 by lambda. So 1 by lambda can be written as T half upon ln2. So that would be the number of atoms disintegrated in atom. So it should be the answer. And here they is proportional to us, so it would be this much. Okay, so this is option A. Next one. The length of the magnet is large compared to its width and breadth. The time period in vibration magnetometer is 2. Now cut along its length into 3 equal parts and placed on each other with their like poles together. The time period of this combination will be. So here, cut along its length, it means like this. Here the question means like this. So if you cut it like this, each part would be 1/3 of the length, and we know in this particular case the time period will become 1/3. And if you place them over here, it will have no effect on the time period. So I can directly go for 2/3. Otherwise, telling you what happens, just look at it. Let's say this was the initial piece, its moment of inertia V I naught, magnetic moment V M naught. Now when you cut it into 3 parts and place it like this, magnetic moment will still become M naught because each will be M naught by 3, M naught by 3 in the same direction. So it's M naught. But what happens to I? I is proportional to M into L square. M is again the same, but length has become 1 by 9, so I becomes I naught by 9. And you know time period is 2 pi under root of I upon mu B. So mu is same, B is same, effectively I is 1 by 9. So the new time period would be T dash would be equals to T by 3. So this is going to be 2/3 seconds. You can go for option A. Next one. Very common question. You must have done that before, I suppose. Next. In a simple pendulum, breaking strength of the string is double the weight of the bob. The bob is released from rest when the string is horizontal. It will break when at an angle theta with the vertical. So what happens? It is being released from this position and it goes like this. So wherever it breaks, let's say it breaks like here at an angle theta. So let's say the velocity be v. So first of all, v would be equals to under root of 2gh. H would be what you can say L cos theta. So tension is 2 mg here. So what I can write, this is T and this is mg. So the centripetal force would be T minus mg cos theta is equal to mv square by L. So T, let's say, be 2 mg minus mg cos theta, mv square by L, that will become 2 mg cos theta. So 2 would be equal to 3 cos theta here. So cos theta becomes 2/3. So theta is cos inverse 2/3. Angle is with the vertical. I have also taken it. So cos inverse 2/3 is the answer. Next one, 29th. Metallic surface ejects electrons when exposed to green light of intensity I, but no photoelectrons are emitted when exposed to yellow light of intensity I. It is possible from the same surface. What we can see now, yellow can't, green can be. So blue, these can be, these cannot be. So it can be ejected from intensity, doesn't matter. Yellow light, no. Green light of any intensity, yes. Red light of any intensity, no. None of these. So option B. Next one. Light of energy 2 eV falls on a metal of work function. This is the stopping potential. This is the easiest one you will have. The Kmax is, you can directly say 0.6 eV. So stopping potential is going to be 0.6 volt. This is one of the very easy one. Next one. Hydraulic lift works on the principle of Pascal's law. You all know. And the question is of Pascal law again. Hydraulic press, radii of connecting pipes R1 and R2 are in the ratio 1:2. So lift a heavy mass M on a larger piston, smaller piston must be pressed through a minimum force F equal to. So because here the radius is doubled, so if you apply F here, it would be 4F here too, because the pressure change is same, because the area has become 4 times, so force will also become 4 times. So that if 4F is equal to mg, that means F is equal to mg by 4. Directly you can make out. Similar question we did yesterday, I suppose. Next. An object is placed at a distance of 20 from the pole of concave mirror of focal length 10 centimeter. Okay, the distance of the image formed is. So U is minus 20 centimeter. F is concave, therefore minus 10 centimeter. So what we'll have, 1 by V plus 1 by U equals 1 by F. That is our formula. So 1 by V plus 1 upon minus 20 is 1 upon minus 10. So 1 upon V from here comes out as minus 1 by 20 for sure. 1 by 10 minus 1 by 20, that is minus 1 by 20. So V is minus 20. And again we are, I am fool, because it is 20 centimeter, clearly means it is at center of curvature. So image will still be at center of curvature, inverted end of same size. So answer is minus 20. Next one. No need to have done like this. Time taken by the sunlight to pass through a slab of 4 centimeter and refractive index 1.5 is. Here we will assume normal incidence. So time would be distance 4 centimeter upon speed. Speed here would become c by 1 upon 5. That is 2 into 10 to the power 8. So 2 into 10 to the power 8. So if we convert it in meter per second, so convert it into 4 into 10 to the power minus 2 upon 2 into 10 to the power 8. And this is what you get, 2 in 10 to the power minus 10 seconds. So the option D would be the answer here. Next one. Solid balls rolls down a parabolic path ABC from a height h as shown. The portion AB of the path is rough while BC is smooth. How high will the ball climb? So that it is rolling down. So first of all, I can make out the velocity here will be using that formula half mv square beta, because the potential energy goes into rotation and translation both. That would be equal to mgh. So the value of the v will come out as 2gh by beta, and because it is a solid ball, solid sphere, beta would be 7 by 5. So because it is 7 by 5, it would be 10gh by 7. And now this is smooth, so this omega thing will remain constant, only v will lose. So now only kinetic energy will give up, so that half mv square would be equal to mg h dash. So h dash would be v square by 2g. So if you do this, it comes out as 5h by 7. So the new height would be 5h by 7 only. So go for option A. Next one. Circular disc rolled down an inclined plane. The ratio of rotational kinetic to total kinetic energy. Because it is a disc, what I can say, ratio of rotational kinetic energy to total. So what we have, total kinetic energy, I can write as half mv square beta. Because it is a disc, it would be 3 by 2. That is half mv square into 3 by 2. That this is total. And if we take the translational one, it would be half mv square. So the rotational one would be difference of the two, that is 3 by 2 minus 1 into half mv square. That is equal to 1 by 4 mv square. So if you take k rotation to k total, that ratio now will be 1 by 4 upon 3 by 4, that is 1:3. So that ratio is 1:3, and the translational one would be 2:3. Next one. A PN junction in series with a resistance of 5 kilo ohm is connected across a 50 volt DC source. Okay, if the forward bias resistance is 50 ohm, the forward bias current is, okay. So what we have, resistance of 5 kilo ohm, this is a 50 volt, this is 5 kilo ohm, and this is a PN junction, it is a forward bias. So what would be the current here? So effective resistance becomes 5000, it was, so 5050 ohm total resistance. So current would be 50 upon 5050. So it comes out as 1 upon, what I can say, 11, no, not 11, be careful. This 50 goes, this would be 1 upon 101. It is 1 upon 101 ampere. So you can roughly go for, this is equal to roughly 9.9 milliampere if you convert it into milliwatt. Okay, next one. current in the given circuit will be. Just look at the circuit. This is the battery, this is forward bias, this is reverse bias, so this branch is of no use. So effective resistance is 50, so the current would be 5 by 50, that is 1 by 10 ampere, or 5 by 50, they have given it like this, so go for B. Next one, what is the molar specific heat of a gas undergoing an adiabatic process? You know, for an adiabatic process there is no heat received, so the heat capacity is 0. Heat capacity for isothermal is infinity, for adiabatic is 0, because specific the molar heat would be Q upon M delta T. So here temperature is changing but Q is 0, so 0 upon something is going to be 0. Next one, which of the following is dimensionless? V square by RG, V square G by RV. So you definitely remember whatever you take, height is V square by 2G, you remember this thing. So this V square by 2HG term is going to be dimensionless for sure. So V square by RG is also the same dimension, so go by this, option A. Next, if there is zero absorption in the Polaroid and if the intensity of plane polarized rays coming out of the Polaroid is IA square, then the intensity of the incident beam will be okay. So here if the beam zero absorption, plane polarized light coming out is A square, then the intensity of the incident beam is. Now again this question has to be incident unpolarized beam, then it would have been a logical one. So if it would have been unpolarized, the intensity would have reduced to half. So half of the intensity is A square, so original would be 2A square if I assumed incident beam to be unpolarized. Next one, in a YDSE one of the slit is wider than the other, so the intensity will differ. Okay, so the amplitude of one slit is double that of the other. If IM is the maximum intensity, what is the resultant intensity when they interfere at a phase difference phi? So what I can say, I wrote the general formula, I1 plus I2 plus 2 root I1 I2 cos phi, you remember. And what is Imax? Imax is root I1 plus root I2 whole square. So here, because the amplitude of the light from one is double, so intensity you can say will be 4 times. So let's say one is I0, other one would be 4 I0. So what we have, this is 1 plus 2, that is 9 I0 is Imax. And now what would be I? I would be I1, I1 is I0, second is 4 I0 plus 2 times, what we will have, 2 will come out, that would be I0 cos phi. So it comes out as 5 I0 plus 4 I0 cos of phi. And I can write I0 as Im by 9. So 5 Im by 9 plus 4 Im by 9 cos phi. So what we have now, take Im by 9 as common. I have taken it. It comes out as 5 plus 4 cos phi. Now if you have to convert it into cos square phi, you know 1 plus cos phi is 2 cos square phi by 2. That you remember. So if you take that particular result into account, so what it becomes, 1 plus cos phi is 2 cos square phi by 2. So that is 1 plus 4 cos phi, that will become 8 cos square phi by 2. So going by the options, it is option B, and this is a question that has been asked previously in some examinations. In previous exam questions, you must have done this. Two sound sources are placed along the diameter of the circle of radius r being much greater than the separation. How many minima will be heard? So first of all, for this question, just remember, at this point part difference is 4 lambda, at this point also it is 4 lambda, at this point is 0, at point is 0. So it is maxima, beyond this there would be lambda, 2 lambda, 3 lambda. Beyond this there would be half lambda, 1.5, 2.5 and 3.5. So in a single quadrant you will have 4 minima. So in the 4 quadrants you will have 16 minima. So you will have 16 minima, and if you count the maximas, the maximum you can also count out how many will be, check it out, but the minima is going to be 16 in this case. Next one. In the diagram, the intensity of waves arriving at D from two coherent sources is I0. Okay. The wavelength of the lambda is 4. The resultant intensity at D will be okay. So first of all, this S2 will travel 5 meter, S1 will travel 4 meter. So the path difference, that is delta x, is equal to 1 meter. So the path difference would be 2 pi by lambda into 1, that is equal to pi by 2. So intensity would be I1 I0 plus I2 I0 plus 2 root I1 I2, that would be 2 I0 cos of pi by 2. And cos of pi by 2 you all know is 0. So it comes out as 2 I0. So go for option C. It is like the question we did above, the same formulas we are using. Now coming to the last. How much work must be done by a force on a 50 kg body in order to accelerate from 0 to rest to 20 in 10 seconds? Okay. So you know work done is So that is going to be half into 50 into 20 square minus 0 square. So that is 50 into 400 by 2. So this is 200. So this is 510. This is 10 to the power 4 joule. So go for option B. So this was today's paper. Thanks for watching. Keep sharing, keep commenting.